All
Hello.
right. Welcome, everybody.
How's
Happy St.
everyone?
Patrick's Week.
St. Patrick's gonna be better. St.
Man,
Patrick's
Emil,
Day.
whenever you put your hand forward, I was like, that looks like one of the Lucky Charms guys, right?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Ready to go tonight. Start celebrating.
All right.
Celebrating St. Patrick's Day today. From today until Thursday. Yeah.
Awesome. What's one of your favorite things to celebrate or eat for St. Patrick's Day, Emil?
I will say just beer.
Beer?
Just beer. Yeah,
Just
yeah.
go.
But it's just a fun celebration. Like a lot of people are the color, some of the cool music, instrumental music from Ireland. It's pretty cool. Things like that. Yeah, it's having fun.
Yeah, so no Irish food?
Mm, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to try more. I think the one that I have tried it was okay, but I have to try more. I have to go and try more. Yeah, you have any favorite?
I mean, every once in a while, I'm really good with. I mean, it's not technically Irish, but I lived in the UK for a little bit, so
Mhm.
bangers and mash,
Mm.
which is basically like the sausages and mashed potatoes, right?
Mhm.
Um, from an Irish perspective, I mean, you gotta love some potatoes. I was actually looking for a potato workflow, um, but I wasn't able to find one. So there's definitely some cool things to keep an eye out for in general, though.
Thanks,
Uh,
Andrea. Andrea's saying that she likes the outfit. Thanks,
yeah,
Andrea.
thank you, Andrea. He's getting
Andrea,
fancy here.
yeah, tomorrow's gonna get worse. Tomorrow and the other show. I have too much stuff for tomorrow. Yeah.
I'm saving my fancy green shirt for Thursday. We've got another live event, which will be uh, Thought Leader Thursday with
Mhm.
the Alteryx Aces, and we actually have a new ace on the team, Marcus Montenegro. So a shout out to him
Yeah.
for joining the team as an ace, or actually becoming an ace while he was on the team.
Mhm.
And then we'll be discussing some different aspects with Alteryx as well. So
Awesome.
now, without much further ado, right? Of course, what you guys were all here for was to check out some data transformation. Yamil, do you want to go ahead and share what cool workflow you brought today for data
Yeah,
transformation?
absolutely. So let's see if you can see it here. So let me see if I can make this. I wish I can make it a little bit larger. I don't know if you can see it or not. Um, oh, hold on. Let's see if I can make it a little bit larger here. Yeah, a little bit larger right there. So this is data set that I found for students. Some student information, and this is related to their birthdays. And when I
Nice.
was looking at this as a use case and how is it related to a holiday like St. Patrick's Day, so I was just thinking, what if I am a professor, right, a teacher, and I want to know the when my students' birthdays are, and if I know that a birthday is on a celebration like St. Patrick's Day, I can buy that cake, let's say related to St. Patrick's, and then I can have like two different celebrations that day. Or like if I have multiple students that have the birthday on St. Patrick's Day or the day before St. Patrick's or the day after, then I can, save some money, but also celebrate two things. And the same thing happening if some Valentine's Day, 4th of July. I mean, you name it, right? There's so many celebrations every week. So we're just thinking how can we do that. So we will need, as you can see here, some of the students' information, and then we have their birthday and when is that cake needed, the birthday month, and I'm gonna try to go here to the right and see. So here I'm transforming that data. Let me see if I can make it a little bit smaller, and then we'll have to make it larger.
And
And
for
then,
Yamil,
sorry.
for those who haven't seen this platform before, this is Tableau Prep,
Yes,
right?
yes. I'm sorry for
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I forgot that.
And I've got some cool Alteryx workflows we'll be sharing here
Yeah.
in a minute as well.
So I brought in Tableau Prep because I wanted to, one a little bit different. This Tableau Prep, I will say, it's very simple. If you wanted to do some very simple calculation, like if you have data that it's not really, let's say, confusing or difficult to work with, you may don't have Alteryx. You can get this probably free. So you can. This is one that you can use for very simple. You're not trying to do a lot of like statistics or things like that, right? I wanted to use Tableau Prep, and in this case, I only had two simple Excel sheets. And on this one, for example, and you will see it below here, I have some celebrations. So I have some dates from 2022. Hopefully, it will open quick, and you will see some celebrations. And what I'm doing is I'm joining those celebration dates, months with the other data set. What the cool thing is, you see, we are very simple. You can join both together, and you can see we now have, for example, the dates. We have the when the cake is needed, the year. One of the cool things that I like about Tableau Prep, it's makes you do these joins very easy. So I did the join in the birthday date and the celebrations. So using those two dates, and what you can do is, and I'll show you. I wanted to show you first the output, and then go back to some of the what happened before. So here I can see that the student's name and what celebration is on that specific day of their birthday. So you can see there is a Chinese Day or Valentine's Day or Earth Day. But what I am interested is on, St. Patrick's. So if I, for example, go here before that, and this is something that I really like because it was so simple to do, and I go to the one that says St. Patrick's Day, right? Let me go there, okay, and I go to that celebration day, and then I do. Oh, I wanted just to use this one, keep only. So look what happened when I do that. Tableau Prep will tell me exactly who are those two students that are the students that have that specific date. That their birthday is the same day of St. Patrick's Day. So you can see there's these two students. So I found it really really fast. The two students that have their date or their birthday the same days of St. Patrick's Day. You have any questions?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when we kind of look at this, right,
Mhm,
it's interesting seeing the types of data sets that you can
mhm,
join together and then even doing some of the theming, right?
mhm,
Which can be fun. Like, not like everybody would like to do this, but maybe the individuals like to dress up, so it could even get them a birthday St. Patty's outfit, right? With
mhm,
um, some like a necklace or something like you have. So I think thinking outside the box
mhm,
is actually great. So what I like about this is it's nice and clean. You even have some of the notation there on the bottom, so we can understand
mhm,
um, what some of the things are that we're trying to do. So like, hey, do I need a cake, right?
mhm,
So am I buying a cake just for, maybe it's just for today for the St. Patty's, if maybe we're a smaller company and we don't have enough people to kind of run that,
mhm,
right? Or how many people are we buying the cake for? So if it's, let's say, two people have their
mhm,
birthdays, right? Okay, maybe it's a smaller cake because there may not be as many people going there
exactly.
versus like months. There's some months, actually, like this month in my family, it's literally um, one of my college friends' birthdays. It's my brother and sister's birthday. It's my parents'
Mhm,
anniversary, right? All
mhm,
within like the span of a week. So that typically means if we all get together, it's a pretty big event. So this is a
mhm,
great way of kind of putting some of that information together. Ironically, all on even to a calendar, right?
yeah.
So I would love to see some of that whenever we're talking about if I were sharing this data with someone. It's a nice way of kind of blending all the data sets together.
Exactly. One of the cool things that you know, the first question is that, like, what is one of the things that I like about this tool is that, as you can see here I can annotate what I'm doing, you know, what I'm doing with each part or each piece of the data, the birthday, what are the calculation, make date, function. So we pretty much start here. I just wanted now to go back and see before we get that output. What do we have? We have the student's name, we have their birth dates. I decided we don't really need the gender, right? We don't need the parent contact information, so we exclude all of that. Then we take their names, and we had to create a calculation because, you know, originally it was just first name and last name, but what
Yes.
we want is that, right? So look at here on the left. So on the left, it says all the changes that I did to the data. Calculate a
Nice.
field, right? Then I rename a field because I call it first name. It used to be, I think it was the original from the data was pupil name or something like that. I wanted to be like student's name or first name. So I rename all of that. I rename a bunch of fields. I make this new field called students. Now they have first name and last name. And then you can see all the data going through. Then now we add another step, and then we created another calculated field for the date, birthday date. And you can see here if I hover, kind of like the calculation right there. And then we keep going. Before, you know, I wanted to, you're pretty much what we're doing is cleaning the data before we get to join that data to the other one, which is the celebrations data. And here we need when does the cake need it. So in this case, if we know that it takes, let's say that we're buying that cake from some specific store and we know that they need like 3
Publix.
or 4 or 5 days ahead, huh? Publix.
Publix. Yeah, I mean it's green today,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
right in
yeah, oh
line with
yeah,
their stuff.
that's right, that's right. So we can do that. You know, we had some duplicate fields, so we deal with them. Day of the week, we rename some other fields. So here you can see all those changes. The other cool thing is, and this happened to me twice this morning, uh, when I did some of this, I didn't want it. So all I did was click this X and it will just delete it. It will take it out of the flow. So if there's one field or one calculation that I don't need later on, or that's not needed or something, it's very easy to filter that out. And then we keep going, and at the end this is the number of birthdays. And one of the cool thing is we can have two outputs, right? So you have, this is the output of the specific celebrations of the, in this case was for St. Patrick, but if I want to see the whole data set before I filter to any specific celebration, we can see this output here. So I have when the cake needed on Wednesday, this is the student, day of birth, and for in December, and how many birthday per week and month, 9. So we can get some specific insights of what is needed in this specific use data set. There were 1,000 students.
Yeah, what I also think is interesting, right, when we're
Uh-huh.
looking at this in terms of what's not clear about this data set, right? If we go back to that second question that we normally answer, in today's world, right, we may not even know whether these students or if they were employees, where they're located. So are they actually coming
Yes.
to class, or is it something that's virtual? Because we have like really cool platforms and stuff that are available. We even do this for our internal happy hours, right? But you could just as easily do this with Uber Eats and maybe send them a cupcake, right? It could be something small, and do like a cupcake and maybe ask them for like their favorite flavors, and then shoot that over for their birthday or for a celebration. So I
That is
think that's
true.
kind of a cool way of doing it. They may even have, hey, you do it virtually. I don't know how you would blow the candles out, but you could do it virtually where everybody's there ready to celebrate your birthday in the office or at school. And then if that person isn't present physically, then you could send them a cupcake, right? And then they can just
Yeah.
join virtually.
The other thing that I was thinking this, and I would like to go to back to those use cases. Let's say that you're from HR,
Mm,
and now you are somebody that is every week it's sending out, hey, wanted to celebrate, I don't know, Black History Month or Women's History Month or something. You could add with this those individuals that now have a birthday on that month of that week together in the same email. You can be more efficient in that way, right? You can say, hey, I just wanted to remind everyone that this week I want to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and also these individuals have a birthday this week. So this
yes,
data set could help you with that. You know, so,
exactly.
so those are some of the things that you can do. And then here you can see there's two outputs. So in this one here is everyone, 2022 birthdays. And then this is very easy to actually rename. So I renamed that here. Super easy to rename. And in this one is the celebrations, because we join this celebration with another data set. And one of the cool things that I like was a summary. Let's see if I can get to that summary. Hopefully we can. Let me see. I really like that summary here on the left side. So you can see it tells you the join and the number of, there were only two. That's the results of
Mm,
that join. The other good thing that we can do is if we eliminate, and this is something that I was playing early today, if we eliminate St. Patrick's now and we go back to settings, we can see, wait, okay, yeah, we can see number of birthdays, which ones match, which ones were excluded. So you can see I had 1,000 students, so
hmm
956 were actually excluded, and it gives you even recommendations and things like that. So if you wanted to change how are you joining this, very easy, right? You can do it right here.
Nice.
um, so yeah.
Yeah, and you were joining on the actual day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at this, sometimes those celebrations that
Mm-hmm.
we have, kind of like we do with our theming, right? It's for the entire week. So
Mm-hmm.
literally, what you could do is maybe do some calculations,
Mm-hmm.
right, where it relates to a birthday week and then
Mm-hmm.
also a theme week, right? And
Exactly.
then if we don't see that we have enough birthdays in relation to that, right, we could identify what is the theme for that person that week. So,
Exactly. Exactly. There's too many things. I mean, exactly you can do with this data sets. And I think that having a celebrations data set, nice and neat, clean, ready to go, that you can use with other data sets for themes or things that you're doing at the office. This is something that we are talking about it internally. How we can use this data set with all celebrations for the whole year, for
hmm
webinars, for HR, marketing. I mean, it's great because how many times you're spending, or anybody's spending, looking online, googling, okay, what are we celebrating this week? I mean, if we don't have to do that anymore, I mean, just imagine how much time we're saving everyone, right? You can create a dashboard out of this. I mean, hopefully we will create a dashboard out of this in the future. So with this output, so that's another thing
exactly.
that I like. You know. So another thing about this tool, Tableau Prep, you can definitely uh, push this to Tableau server. You can schedule it. We do that for clients here at Data Meeting. If anybody needs help, let us know. How can we help you out? Putting all this together with in Tableau server from Tableau Prep, and we're definitely more than happy to help you out. We have great consultants in Data Meeting that we can help you out with that. But you can schedule this, blend it, send it to the Tableau server, and then over there you can refresh your dashboard. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when we look at this, right, this reminds me of we've just started playing with trifacta.
Mm-hmm.
A shout out to Pedro Faria, who just got his data wrangler cert with
Mm-hmm.
trifacta. Him and I were both neck and neck this weekend trying to work on that. And what I appreciate about this, right, is it gives you that interactive grid so you can kind of see how the data is transforming over time. And then
Mm-hmm.
it gives you the list of steps essentially in addition to the visualization in regards to what those transformations are, right? And we see a lot of different transformation platforms kind of do this. So what was interesting is I was just talking with one of my friends and he's like, man, Trifacta looks really familiar. And he's like, I think that looks like Zoho Analytics, right? And what was crazy is we went and looked at it and we were watching, and like some of the pinwheels and stuff, it's actually Trifacta in the background. So part of the reason why we talk about the show being transformation is you'll see a lot of these platforms may actually be integrated into something that you're using every day, right? Or could be in support of some of the data or visualizations that you're using that you know and love. Maybe there's that beautiful calendar that you're like, oh my gosh, this has so many cool events on it, and I would love to kind of see some of that integrated, right? You can see some of that going forward as well in regards to uh, platforms standardizing, white labeling, right, and then just kind of enriching the environment that we live in today. And this is actually genius because a differential between this and Alteryx, right, will be how it actually processes the data. So this will essentially give you a sample, right, and will give you some information in regards to how it's calculating. You don't have to rerun it every time, the whole
No.
workflow, right? And then this relies heavily on like smart sampling. Whereas like platforms like Alteryx, it's all going to be in memory that it executes, which is nice because if there's maybe that one particular record that you're trying to pinpoint, then you can easily get down into that and be able to see it. And there are just different approaches of kind of handling this. So that's definitely an area that I want to make sure that we're calling out as you learn different transformation platforms, right? Or exploring um, what's going to be the one that you want to learn next. You can learn some of these fundamental principles um, either to suit maybe your culture, right? Which may or may not have good data sources to work with or read from. And then others, right, where it is kind of easy to share insights, etc., right? And maybe the data sources that you're looking for relate to things that you're trying to share holistically, right? So in this instance with Tableau Prep, what are some of the ways, if you were to try and share out this data, that you would go about doing that using Tableau Prep?
So you can definitely, like I said,
Dashboards, right?
export, shoot this out to Tableau server,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can export it to like multiple Tableau servers, and then you can say, okay, here is the data set, is clean and neat, is ready to go, start doing the visualizations. And one way to be more efficient is, after some people start try it or playing with it, maybe you can go back and take some of those feedback and adjust some of this or add some calculations or some new things here, because you don't want them to do it in Tableau, because then it will be, everybody will have a different thing. So if you put it all here, it will be easier. Everybody will use the same data set. So you can use someone, some data management there, some making sure that everybody's doing the same. And yeah, it will be very cool and efficient if you can schedule all of this if you want to. And that will
Exactly.
be nice and neat. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So you ready to see some
Yeah.
of the workflows
Yeah.
that I have available? Okay,
Tell me.
let's
Yeah.
dive in. I actually had a few,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and like all Irish, I don't mind a good drink, right? So we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
dive into a couple here,
Mm-hmm.
and we're actually gonna start with some whiskey analytics.
Mm.
So I've
Yeah.
got a couple here.
You're going
Um,
strong. Mm-hmm.
so one is gonna be actually it's part of a three-part set, and I grabbed a couple of them to talk about. So literally, this is using a free data source here. Let me grab this link in case any of you guys are looking for some whiskey data sources for a good tasting, and I'll throw this here in the chat so you can try it out. As far as a data set is concerned, and what you're able to do with these, right? So you see Nessie's whiskey here, and this is a data source from the UK. So I know there's a little bit of rivalry going on there, right? But there's definitely some good whiskeys all in this entire region. And what we're able to do with this data source, right, is we're able to see a ton of different distilleries, and then they actually have ratings across the flavor profile and then even their postcode. So you can map some of this out if you want, right? And obviously with Alteryx, that can be done very simply by just taking the lat long if you were interested in doing like a create points here really quickly, right? And literally you can see it'll go ahead and go in and grab this. And then I'll go ahead and do this just because this is fun sometimes, right? So I'll go ahead and run this, but then literally right after you're grabbing this data set and filtering down the different fields, essentially what this is doing next is it's literally going in and it's doing sampling.
Okay.
So sampling is something when we talk about data science models, right? In this case, we're doing some clustering to understand and group together whiskey properties. Then what we need to be able to do is we need to pull a sample together, right? And then obviously the V is for validation. So we want a sample set. And then we have seed rounds, which seeds essentially determine if we were to start numbering them, right? Like if I were to look at this, you see the row ID. If we were to start the numbering, where should I be starting? And essentially that determines the quote unquote randomization that's available. So a seed determines what that starting point is. So then like when we're looking at this, right, we can see it'll pop up here on the map. So you've got some geography that plays in here, and maybe there's different aspects here, right? Maybe certain whiskeys that we're looking at may have more of a winey type taste to it, right? That doesn't mean necessarily that the people at the distillery are winey. It just means that the flavors may taste more like wine-esque, right?
Yeah. You know that tool that you have on top of right there looks like some like
Some
some grape.
grapes. Yeah. Yeah, Alteryx really does a good job, right?
Yeah.
So in Alteryx Designer, they really do a good job of kind of clustering together the tools. And if
Very
you're
nice.
looking at this, right, this is actually part of predictive grouping. So we'll see it's being a little fussy
Mhm.
here with the map, maybe because of some of the stuff I was doing earlier today. But if we start looking at this from a reporting perspective, right, this is the k-means tool. So you can see you can do some centroid cluster analysis, right? Where essentially we're trying to predict if we were comparing some of these flavors together, what are some of the flavor profiles that typically go hand in hand, right? So then essentially think of this being like a neural network map where we're trying to decide, oh, is it the smoky typically go with the tobacco flavor, right? Or is it, when we're looking at this, is the winey flavor, right, typically more combined with like a fruity or floral flavor, right? And then so when we look at this, you can kind of see where all of those exist and then what
Okay.
that pairing looks like holistically, if that makes sense. So you'll see that the winey and the body, right, are kind of together here. There's a little bit of this nutty combination that exists here. And then floral is definitely opposite of medicinal. So it's kind of interesting in my mind because I think of, hey, there's a lot of flowers and things like berries that transition from an integration perspective with food, and they offer different flavor profiles.
We see.
So what are like some of the other things that I'd want to kind of see here when we're exploring this cluster? Oh, that may be why, because I didn't add, let's add a base map here and see if this behaves. So when we're kind of looking at this, right, there's going to be a handful of things when we're looking at the whiskey cluster. In this case, we're looking at cluster number 5 is the one that we're focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
And then in particular with this cluster, right, we can see that these are all grouped together from a flavor profile perspective. So there's Glen Scotia, right, Highland Park, Oban, and when we're looking at all these different flavor profiles, we might try and find some of these similarities, right? And then nearest neighbor would be, these examples are great if essentially you're trying to say, hey, I'm looking for maybe Glen Spey, right? And then maybe there's another, if they didn't have that in stock because it's St. Patty's Day, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
favorite one may actually be out of stock. Let's say I love Jameson and they just burned out of Jameson, right? Then is there something else I should be trying? And this is almost like those recommendation engines, just like a sommelier
Mm-hmm.
um, would with wine, right? You may have some recommendation engines that exist within whiskey. So it's really, really cool. And then another one is from a text perspective, right? This is another one that I have. And
Mm-hmm.
this one's actually from Reddit. So literally what we did is we used all the Reddit data on whiskey, and you can see all the comments being pulled here. And then when we looked at this, right, there may be some whiskey that we're looking at. In this case, we had Islay being the one that we were targeting. But what's interesting is since we had initially built this workflow, right, what we may be looking for now is we may be trying to target like a specific brand. So let's say I had
Mm-hmm.
this here, right? I have the interactive results grid. And let's say in here, I were actually looking for Jameson, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can literally type in Jameson here, and then if you take a look here in the description, I'll see all of the Jameson listed here. So you've got uh, the Jameson 12-year reviews here, which is actually pretty
Mm.
good. Have you ever had Jameson?
Yeah, but
Maybe
not much to be honest. Just
not much.
not much, no. But
Yeah.
a couple times, yeah.
Is it maybe it's the sherry, right?
Yeah.
That that you're looking at, or maybe some of the malt or the grain that that you're not favoring the flavor profile of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when we kind of look at this, right, this is, I think, again, a great example of
Mm-hmm.
different ways in which you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what's interesting is I've literally got another workflow here that's doing the same kind of profiling, but this is actually with beer,
Mm.
right? So in this instance, we're doing the US.
Mm-hmm.
So we could even identify like top beers, Irish beers within the US. So do we have a different impression of what's tastes good versus what's tastes good to people in Ireland?
Mm. I like that.
And I think a really good example of this, right, is
Mm-hmm.
actually even simple with something that all of us probably love, which is chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
So, like when we talk about chocolate, right, American chocolate actually has a lot more sugar in it, but it actually doesn't taste as sweet, right, as some of the um, chocolate that's a little bit smoother in like the entire EMEA range, right? So when we look at that, the same is true with beer. Like a lot of the beer preference is on tap. And there were
Mm-hmm.
actually huge outcries during COVID
Mm-hmm.
around not being able to get to their local pub.
Mm-hmm.
Or another one that was really funny is in Italy, they were actually complaining because nobody really made pizza at home in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
You went to all the pizza places that were around you because they were local, and then everybody was freaking out because, like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to get any pizza. because I don't have a pizza oven at home, right? You get really fancy with the pizza. So there's similar aspects with beer, right? A lot of people don't exactly have a keg of beer sitting at home for the tap. So is there flavor differentials that exist between those experiences, whether it's a can, a bottle, or on draft? And literally with this, you can kind of see some of those profiles, right? You've got data preparation where things are being parsed. You've got ranking that's kind of going on with the different beers, and you can see the downloading of the headers, right? There's other countries that exist here. So you can literally see Belgium, Denmark as a couple of those there. And then when we look at what are some of the top rated beers, right? We can literally see Treehouse Brewing Company, right? Three Floyds, Cigar City. Yes.
That's in Florida,
local.
right?
Yep, that's Tampa. So Tampa even has some here. So if you're local to these areas, Funky Buddha, they've got some good stuff, right? Yeah, so there's a ton listed here. So kind of keep that in mind as you're looking to enjoy the weekend. You actually have plenty in terms of analytics that you can be involved with in regards to maybe finding a new flavor profile that you enjoy just by referencing something that you may already be drinking.
Yeah, something that you really like, and this is just some alternatives.
Yeah. And you can see here, I mean, like even with the street view, right? So if we go and kind of zoom in, so as we zoom in on this one, right? Let's click away here. So you can literally see there's three
Tampa.
actually in this area.
Wow.
So that, and what's the other one? They look like St. Pete.
I think.
Yeah, St. Pete, and then there's
Clearwater.
yeah. Wow, yeah. Look at all these ones here in Florida. All these labels.
Yeah, the good thing about that is sometimes you're looking for a specific flavor, or you may like the same beer. But what happens if they don't have that where you're at, right? Traveling, and now
Exactly.
you can get the other one.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can get it. You don't have to go and switch to wine or hard liquor.
No.
You can find another one.
Or no drinks at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of happened actually when I went up to Chicago for St. Patty's Day. Have you ever been to St. Patty's Day in Chicago?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's insane. Let's see if I can do a quick pull here, which I did find. Yeah, I'll actually share both of these. So I'll share some images. And it's funny because we were there by chance during one of my events for college, and I actually ended up there for another seminar, not even knowing that it was St. Patty's weekend, and literally they dye the entire river green. Like if you look closely, all these bridges, all these people are up there, they close all the bridges down. So they just kind of lock it down. And then the other one that was cool that I did see, let's see, St. Patty's Day, Chicago. Let's see, weather. Let's see if it comes up real quick. Yeah, so this was really cool to see some old visualizations, and Yamil, I'm kind of getting into some of the stuff that you're talking about, right? But weather data is actually our theme next week. And literally when we're looking at this, you can see NOAA here, and they're talking about the weather for St. Patty's Day in Chicago for the last 146 years. So it's really incredible to see the longitudinal data. Like if you were doing time series analysis, you could kind of track some of this. And what's interesting is if you look at this data, right, the average temperature is typically between like 30 and 50 degrees.
Mm.
So it's really crazy, right? With some of these all the way down like into the 20s. So if you were looking at this, you would definitely have an idea of how you should be dressing to if you want to do St. Patty's Day right in Chicago.
Oh yeah, you have to get some green jacket.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Hopefully you got a green jacket.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you think it's like that in Boston? You know, because Boston should be also very interesting. There's a lot of
Yeah.
Irish people from Ireland in Boston, Massachusetts. You know, like some of this census data that we were looking yesterday. That's what it says, but also imagine with the Boston Celtics and all that stuff, it should be really cool to be there.
Well, and that's actually something that's really interesting when we start talking about
Hmm.
data, right? Is there's even a lot contained within the U.S. Census data. If you haven't explored that before, right? Where you could even do, hey, if I were looking to start
Hmm.
a new um, event, right? Maybe centered around St. Patty's Day, where should I do it? So, like one
Hmm.
of the ones that you mentioned is there's actually a large Irish population in Oklahoma, right?
Hmm.
So that's one of those events where you'd be like, the biggest celebration for St. Patty's Day is in Oklahoma. Like, how is that really a thing? And you
Hmm.
can actually see some of that, which will transition, especially as we're all working remote, right? So when we're
Hmm.
looking at adjusting events and finding new locations, those locations may actually be beneficial to move them over time. I mean, either because of simple things like cost, like you were talking about. Hey, maybe we want to move when the birthday cakes are given, and it could also be themed related to the holiday, right?
Hmm.
Um, the same could be true for events. We could say, hey, this event, we would like to gravitate it more towards uh, specific demographic, right?
Hmm.
Um, or it could even be maybe even restaurants, right? So if you're looking for vendors, street vendors to be there, food trucks, right?
Hmm.
Maybe you want to have a St. Patty's Day celebration, and
Hmm.
then maybe you need some Irish food there. Well, you may
Hmm.
not necessarily find that if you were doing, let's say you're trying to do St. Patty's Day in the Bahamas, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how much stuff you're going to find in regards to uh, Irish themed food in regards to the Bahamas. So
Yeah.
awesome.
That
All
would be tough.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
So
it's great. This is great. I really like that data set. It's very
yes,
interesting.
I think what we'll do is we'll actually go ahead and end today a little bit early. Looks like we don't have too much activity in the chat, but I would definitely recommend checking out tomorrow's session.
Hmm.
Yamil, do you want to throw that link in the chat? And
Yeah.
if you guys are up for attending the session tomorrow, they've got some really cool visualizations
Hmm.
around um, St. Patty's Day and a couple of amazing guests as well. So I know Len O'Toole's going to be there, correct?
That is true.
Uh,
Yes, I'm
yeah.
looking right now. What's going on with
And
mine?
then I'll even throw the Sign Up
Mhm.
Genius link in the chat if you guys are looking to sign up for Transform Tuesdays to be a guest speaker. Um, we will be having weather data next week, and we've got that one full up, but we're always looking for speakers. So we'd love to have you if you're interested. And then, Emil, you
Yeah.
have that one handy.
Let me put it here in the chat right now. So tomorrow we're gonna have really cool event for data visualization, all related to St. Patrick's Day. We're gonna have an amazing panelist, some from Tableau Zen Masters, now called Tableau Visionaries with Sarah. Len O'Toole, he's an MicroStrategy expert, but also he's from Ireland, He's a proud Irish, and he's amazing with data visualization. And we're gonna have David Bressel. He is a data science expert who's gonna bring us a really cool project that he have where he's gonna show us a lot of demographics information, especially
Nice.
Irish demographic from the U.S. from a data set that he created, and it's super interesting, super cool information. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Happy
Yeah.
St. Patty's Week. And we look forward to seeing you at more of our events later this week. As
Yeah.
always, thank you, Data Meaning, for allowing us to do this.
That's true.
And if ever you have any data transformation needs, you heard a lot of different data transformation platforms, everything from Tableau Prep, Trifacta. We've talked about Alteryx. You've got Sisense, as well as many others. We're happy to help you with training, as well as if you need support in relation to trialing softwares or even help with a project. We're here for you.
That's
Thank you,
right.
everyone. Happy Tuesday.
Thank you. And we're hiring.
Yes. Check out the links below.
Yeah, we're hiring. Thank you.